July 10, Board of Trustees of the Urbana Free Library will come to order. Roll call.
Do the swearing in first and then do the roll call?
Okay.
Okay, we've got two, let's see, Michael and Jeff tonight need to be, your terms.
Oh, that's right, we have to
Right,
swear
right.
in.
Yep, so
Okay.
you're
Let's do
starting
that.
again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Beth. Wasn't following. So you're going to swear them in?
I'm going to swear them in. I love swearing at these folks. Okay. We'll make this official. Okay, so Jeff
And
and
Michael.
Michael, please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I
I
do
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Library Trustee
of the office of Library Trustee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Okay, and then we'll do some signing things here.
I was telling Beth that I saw Champaign swear in new city council members, and they read it, and it wasn't somebody reciting it to them, repeat after me, and I think that makes a lot of sense, so but we don't have anybody to do it again until next year. So I think that makes sense, though. Just read it, each one reads it.
I think that is a fine idea.
It makes it go faster. Okay, roll call, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. We have Jeff,
Here.
Beth,
Here.
Chris,
Here.
Michael,
Here.
Jared,
Here.
John.
Yes.
We have missing Barbara Jones, Barbara Bennett, and Jane Williams.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, move approval. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We will have an executive session tonight to review minutes of closed session, so. Public comments? None, I take it. Celeste, anybody? No, okay. Action items, the board meeting minutes of June 12, payroll June 22, payroll July 6, bills for June 13, bills for June 27, bills for June 27, oh, they're A and B, and bills for June 29. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the first item on action item is our proposal workplace violence. You had it handed to you last time in the packet. Has anybody run across anything that they would like to question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Two things that are very unlike each other. One is, it says, in case of any trouble, to contact, the employee should go immediately to the supervisor. I'm not sure about this, but I was wondering if in case of unusual trouble with some imminent danger of actual physical harm, some people should just call 911 rather than, going through a delay. That would be very unusual, might not ever happen, but running around looking for your
where is
supervisor.
that?
Yeah, and which, do you know which point that was, Michael? That was?
All employees, they should not try to intercede or take precautions to protect themselves. They should, however, report any threat, instance of harassment, or violent act observed or experienced. That's great for 99.9% of the events, but I think it's sort of saying don't do anything, and probably sometimes you want to actually do something.
So I was reading the third point, and the third point, so, it's maybe one of these balancing things. In the third point, there's language that says to take appropriate and immediate action when dealing with patrons, blah, 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 who engage in any threatening behavior or acts of violence or who use obscene language, blah. Such action may include notifying the
okay.
police.
Yeah.
So I saw that.
Oh, okay, so that's,
Yes,
never mind.
And the sentence you were looking at too does finish with the police also. So absolutely, we would want people to call the police first if there was an imminent threat and a supervisor second.
Yes, I read this too quickly this afternoon, and so scratch that.
Okay.
Okay. So I had a completely separate comment, which hopefully is not equally misreading. That it includes obscenity in with acts of violence and threats. You know, we still carry Joyce and D.H. Lawrence here, which were both banned as obscene. Bertrand Russell was banned as obscene at one point. The third book I got to when I was scrounging for my books to take out today, and this was not on purpose, but on the back cover it says, referring to the book, "It is so fucking good." It's available in the library. I think obscenity should be removed from the list of. If we wanted a policy to deal with it, great, but just tossing it in with actual violence or threats of violence doesn't make sense to me. Especially when we have a library full of obscene books.
So how about this? I think I'm feeling contrarian tonight. This is great.
Okay. That makes two of us.
So when you're reading a book, you're taking control and you're choosing to read that material. But let's say you've got younger children, and I see the situation where someone who's really spewing some pretty vile things that you don't really want to choose children to have to experience. You know, they're not making a choice. You're making a choice to pick up that book, and maybe you're literate or whatever. So I see in the case of, this is supposedly a friendly atmosphere for everyone, and I see that being pretty unfriendly. If we take out the obscenity part.
But this is not really about.
It's exposing staff and patrons to unsociable behavior of an extreme sort.
Yeah, but this is not about unsociable behavior. This is, or at least that's sort of a toss-in. The focus of it is on
Violence.
actual violence. And I think that if we want to figure out a sort of general sociability thing, that's good and probably a great idea, but tossing it in with things where, you know, people are actually threatening each other or actually hitting each other or something like that seems like a very crude way of doing it. Again, you know, pick up a book.
Do we not, though, in this reading, classify together obscene, abusive, and threatening to cover language, period? I mean, maybe you're saying the language part should be removed.
No, I mean, if you're threatening is serious. I mean,
You're saying the obscenity part of threatening?
well,
Obscene, abusive, and threatening are all three adjectives for language.
it says obscene, abusive, or threatening. So that would be, you know.
Where did this come from, Celeste?
Might I, either Dawn or I could speak to this, that third point, the sentence starts out with, to take appropriate and immediate action when dealing with patrons or other people that use these behaviors. So the action might be to say, I'm sorry, perhaps you're unaware that when you talk to circulation clerks, you can't swear at them. That could be the immediate action, for example. And we do actually have patrons that get frustrated and say, you are a bleeping, bleeping, bleep to staff, which is not an environment that is comfortable for staff to work in. So does it happen often? No. Does it happen sometimes? Yes.
Sure it does.
And so this is about taking appropriate action. And again, appropriate action can be a pulling of aside and saying this is not appropriate behavior. Generally, people are able to calm down for a moment, apologize, and leave for the day, for example.
But you could just take out the word obscene, threatening behavior or acts of violence, or who use any abusive or threatening language or gesture. That could include obscenities, but it could include, you know, threats of death and things. So you wouldn't focus on obscenity as a specific category.
And what if it's not a threatening bleeping bleep, but just a conversation like, hey baby, why don't we go bleep? There are different levels of when obscene language are.
Well, there's probably different levels of what people consider obscene too, you know, I mean.
There's famous, there's different, as I said, we have a lot of books here that were banned as obscene.
John, do you have a remark?
Well, all of these words sort of beg the question, what does it mean to be obscene? Potter Stewart famously, Justice of the Supreme Court famously said, about pornography, I know when I see it. Here, even the word appropriate, take appropriate steps, that begs the question of what's appropriate. I think this falls into the category of how many angels can we ask to dance in the head of a pin. All these are great points. We're not going to end up with an exact resolution to this. I think what matters to me would be more the tone of it, and I would be comfortable with it, but I wouldn't think it's absolute. I mean, it leaves room for a lot of interpretation, but I think we can only go so far. So, honestly, I think I would be okay with taking out the word obscene because of the other words that include obscene language. But I'm also okay leaving it in because I don't think you're ever going to get it exact. And I think most of us know. I am sensitive to staff having to put up with someone that just simply using words that most people would consider to be obscene, just in conversation, even if it's not threatening.
Yeah, right.
I don't think, because I could be standing there with my 7-year-old and they have to listen to someone use, sound like George Carlin. And so I think I would, while I respect all these points because they're absolutely valid, history has shown that we can't solve all these problems to a finite degree. I think it would be okay for me to leave it in. But if people really felt strongly about it, I would take out the word obscene because I think it means the same thing.
I think you could replace obscene with inappropriate. It's just that the obscene is a sensitive issue in libraries. Books have been banned because they've been obscene. It just seems like it doesn't fit with a library policy. I don't know.
Inappropriate probably is harder to define than obscene.
Well, but you're not going to be able to define it as he says, but obscenity brings up a whole raft of books and court cases and all that sort of stuff that are close to the heart of libraries and library science and things like that. I don't think it ultimately matters all that much, but I think he's got a point sort of well taken, but
Again, we have abusive in there, which, as you say, no word is perfectly defined, but that is certainly cover cases of really hostile.
It does,
Yeah.
I think that if I'm tipped one way or the other, I probably tipped toward leaving it in because of the 7-year-old.
Well, again, that's an interesting discussion, but the implication that that's part of this, which is about death threats and hitting people and actual violence, that it doesn't seem to me like it belongs to much subtler.
well, I have friends and people that I work with and go to school with who use what we would consider to be obscene language as part of their speech, and they don't think of it as obscene. It's just the flow of the language, and what I think is obscene, they mutter through just by rote. They don't even think about it. So, I don't know.
That's their prerogative, but it's not their prerogative to do it in front of my 7-year-old. That's my point.
Well,
That's what I was thinking.
What
Yeah, I think
about unwanted
Yeah.
or some other
So,
descriptor besides the word obscene, vulgar?
Well,
That's a definition.
Again, maybe we should have a policy on that, but I don't see why it's sort of taking a free ride on on this other issue, which is people actually attacking each other.
I think violence comes in many forms. I think language can be violent.
I guess
think
the
a lot
question
of-
would be, does language lead to physical violence?
Right.
That would be the point that you're trying to cover.
Well, physical and verbal abuse.
Okay, verbal, okay.
So Dawn got this from either the ILA standards or from the Management Association, and the head of HR at this. The Management Association is a company with which we contract for management advice in a different capacity than we work with the city. And Todd rented the city, read this over and approved it. Again, ultimately, the board will make the decision on what you think is best. And we will have a policy that we have not had that will help us as we move ahead.
By the way, Chris, so it's not just about violence. It's more
That's
than
true.
that. All
That's
employees
true.
are responsible for maintaining workplaces free from threatening behavior. So that's not, I don't consider that to be the same as, it's a good point that if this is all about just violence,
Threatening.
we should be sensitive to the broad definition of what words mean. But what's threatening, I mean, as an employer, I worry about an environment where anybody feels threatened.
But threatening and unpleasant and irritating are different things. Threatening means you're threatening, whereas not much of a definition, but there's a lot of ways of being an asshole, and I don't think we want to say, library policy is that you can't,
Michael, do you wish to make a motion to remove the word obscene?
I wish to make a motion to remove the word.
Is there a
obscene.
second to that?
I'll second
Any further discussion? The motion is to remove the word obscene from this. All those in favor, please say aye.
it. Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
Aye.
3-2, I think, so I don't have to vote. We will leave it in at this time, but I think if you want to further it down the road, I wouldn't object.
So you need a motion to approve this? Do you need a motion to approve the?
Yeah.
The policy.
Now we need to have a motion to approve the entire policy statement. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Thank you. Let it be noticed that there was objection to it. Leave policy, vacation leave policy. Basically, I had it down, but I've forgotten what it was now.
We have changed a couple of people's pay grade.
That's right.
And we literally just wanted to update that on the chart. The benefits did not change, just the titles. And that would be the acquisitions manager and the circulation manager.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay. Appointments at this time. I am appointing Barbara Jones for the open meetings. I don't have her verification here tonight, but I think I had it, so I'm going to go ahead and appoint her. Appointment for the FOIA offices, Becky Brown and Celeste Schote. Oh, I guess we need to have approval of the board, though, for these appointments, don't we? Okay, let's start with Barbara Jones for the Open Meetings Act.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Appointment of the FAO, Becky and Celeste. A motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? They do the work, let me tell you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay, amendment to the budget. It's a matter of just getting things on the right line for the last time for the 18 budget. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Celeste, you want to point out anything at all? No, it's pretty plain. A little hard to read.
I'm sorry.
More colorful. More colorful.
Oh, well, you can see it there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Draft of the annual report to the city. You have a copy of it. It is fairly inclusive. My only question is, do we anticipate, if we get 18, 19, that they would be similar amounts? Could not necessarily, there's no way to know, but would we anticipate that if they pay back 18 would be back? that we would still be about 32,000.
Actually, 18 is supposed to be in the $52,000 range, so we're back up to the full capacity of $1.25 per person, as opposed to this was less. And so 19, we are estimating would be the same as 18. And if we don't get that for 19, hopefully what we'll get in 19 is 18, as what we got in 18 was 17. It will be lucky. I mean, it'd be great if we got both 18 and 19 in 19, but we will see what happens.
This is not restricted funds in any way, is it?
No, it goes into the general funds and is
Yeah.
dispersed throughout. We use it for things like the collection. There are some things you can't use it for, and we bookmark it in our minds for collection.
But in terms of our cut from the city, this would be able to be applied in future years, as we expect more next year, to our budget, overall budget. You just have to be careful where you put it.
Right, so we spend it in the ways the state allows.
Yeah.
So if we got a double bonus, if we, in some year, we will get 2 payments. Otherwise, they'll be behind a year. This has happened in the past, too, that the state got behind and caught up in a year. We just don't know when the catch-up year will be.
So the state hasn't officially said, we're just going to
No,
split the year. Officially, they're going to.
wipe it out.
At some point, we think that. Yeah, no one said they're not paying, so we are hopeful that one year we'll get. Any year will be a good year.
Any other items or comments that anybody would like to ask?
Yeah, nice report.
If I can say, there is a copy of last year's IPLA report, which is also tiny, being passed around the table, and I will put it in the board packet if anyone wants to take a look at last year's final IPLA report, which is the Illinois Public Library Annual Report that we submit to the state.
And I asked Celeste, this goes to the Secretary of State's office, and then they are responsible to get it accumulated and sent to national. So that it's a big deal. I mean, it is. And I'm not saying it sarcastically. Okay, report of friends. Do you know of anything to be reported?
August 23rd is their next book sale. It corresponds with Sweet Corn.
Sweet Corn Festival time. Always pretty good sale. Foundation. It seemed to me like there was something I need to report, but can you think of anything?
Well, the Friends and the Foundation both came this week, and we had lovely posters, which I meant to send you copies of, and will to talk about the accomplishments of the Friends and Foundation over the past, let's say, 10 years, and how they've supported the library. We made a couple of nice recognition of their work. But the foundation doesn't meet again for a couple weeks.
Yeah. Heartland, anything new?
It's been pretty quiet. There's a executive meeting on Thursday, regular meeting at the end of the month. They're even having a personnel committee meeting for the first time in ages, so I'm the head of the personnel committee, and so every time it's like, we didn't meet this year. So they've started to hire a few more people and things, so it's not a big deal, but I was just thinking as we were, I was thinking, what have I learned lately? There's a couple of libraries that do these, that are starting to offer these other not weird services, but because I was thinking as we were talking about this budget stuff, like why couldn't we offer like lottery tickets and online gambling and stuff, and maybe that would, no, but I mean, I was just thinking, but then I was thinking that some of these other libraries, one of the other libraries has passport services, fishing licenses. Do you ever think about getting into that?
We have.
Some of that
I have
stuff?
heard about libraries that are doing passport services, but my conversations with people are that there are libraries that don't have a local passport office,
Oh, I see.
which we do,
Yeah.
Post office.
Post office.
post office just over.
Quick
And
and
it's
simple.
very time consuming, so we do offer the notary service.
Yeah.
But I know a couple libraries that have spoken about it at local and national conferences, really enjoy offering the service, but there's a lot of training.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very
Well, it just sounded like
expensive.
this one library, I forget where it was, but they were just thinking they could get into all sorts of cool things and stuff. So I just wondered if that was, I know I'm a fan of Makerspace, and
That's
that's
their goal, to make money?
well, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so maybe Makerspace could turn into something to make money, make it print money. No, nothing much is going on, so hopefully they'll get back into the saddle after the end of the summer and things will happen.
For those of you that are new, within the last year, we have raised the notary fee to $1 isn't it? Yeah. It used to be 50 cents for a long time. And we get a lot of notary requests, don't we?
Actually, it was free.
Oh, was
for
it
a
free
number of
before?
years,
And we put the
then
fee on, okay.
Because we were getting between 5,000 and 7,000 requests for notaries a year,
Yeah.
and it does take quite a bit of staff time.
Yeah.
We did start charging a couple of years back, like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah, it's
$1,
perfect.
which is the fee you're allowed to charge. And our staff are so great and so friendly. People bring their notarizations here to us even when the banks are open. But it's nice because nights and weekends when the banks aren't open and available, people can still have their notarizations done. So for the $1 per page, it seems worthwhile to people.
I got my city council forms notarized here.
Here?
Mm-hmm. At the library.
Thank you for that, sir.
Okay. It's useful.
Do we keep any records for every time someone comes and has something notarized? In other words, do we ask, I assume we ask for ID, because if the person doesn't.
Is there a
the notary
record
doesn't
kept and
know.
does it have to get sent anywhere?
Well, I'm just thinking of being able to prove that we did our due diligence to be sure the person is
Yeah.
who they say. And the reason I ask is if we're like copying or scanning a driver's license,
No,
we don't do any of that.
we don't keep that.
So the person is trained to just be sure they're confident they have an accurate
Yes.
ID. Okay.
How many persons do we have authorized to do that?
Oh goodness, off the top of my head, I'd say probably about half a dozen, is that right? Vicki?
How many?
About half a dozen.
And we pay a fee for each one of those people, don't we?
That is
Yeah.
correct, so we're very mindful about which staff members become notaries and which do not.
Okay.
I think that's a yearly fee, I think. No, just it's a one-time, I'm trying to remember, because I used to
Every
have.
4 years, we have to have them
Yeah.
bonded.
Okay.
And then we have to have the, we have to send in, it's $50, well, it's gone down, it depends on which companies they use. Between $20 and $50 for the bonding, it's about, and then $10 to the state, and then the, about $6 or $7 to get the stamp updated. So,
It's more than, okay.
Yeah, that is more than I thought it would be.
but that's every 4 years, so.
Okay, administrative report. Celeste, anything you want to bring us?
I think I want to just say how wonderful the couple of programs we had this weekend. I know it was great to see you at the different programs. We had the Drag Queen Story Hour, which we think had about 200 people attend on Friday night. It was really a fabulous event. We partnered with the Up Center of Champaign County, and we talked to one of the readers, and she said, I thought maybe we'd have 15 kids. They didn't know what to expect. And it was the first Friday event for downtown Ann Arbor with the Imbibe Urbana events. I said Ann Arbor. Imbibe Urbana events. And so there was just a lot of activity and a really good vibe in the building. People were really excited. They were streaming in the building. And crafts were happening, stories were happening. It was all around a good time. And then Saturday, there was the big 100th anniversary party.
And I thank the board members that were able to attend. I really appreciate, because I think it's important that we're seen. And I made a little talk on volunteers, and we're volunteers, so I related that to us. And the thing I did forget was to state that we put a dollar value, $25 and some cents, to hours, and they do record the hours. So last year, we, in essence, had over $77,000 contributed. It's not shown in our budget, but that's the kind of money that our volunteers give us. So it's very worthwhile.
And Chris had asked me, if I may build on what you're saying,
Yeah.
because he was doing research, you asked, can you tell me some current information? And so June was a bumper month for us. We had 275 hours of volunteer time, which is really fabulous. 33 volunteers, 275 hours. So Eleanor is doing a fabulous job getting people who are interested in volunteering with particular jobs that interest them and the departments need done. And then we talked about this before, on our website is a description of the different jobs. And if you click on the link, it will take you to the different elements of each job, so that you can see, like garden volunteer, what does that mean? And it lays out all the different parts. And Chris, I owe you an email on that.
And that's one of the questions I got asked of me after the announcement, where I don't know what I'm volunteering for. And it's on the web, and I have not yet looked at it, so I apologize for that. In terms of the gay bar activity, did they talk to you? They talked to you in terms of other times. Is that set in concrete, is that?
We had so many people ask us when we were going to do it again. There was such a good feeling, lots of excitement. I saw with my own eyes, Black people, white people, Asian people, old people, babies that were 6 months old. Community was represented in many different ways. And so we were asked by lots of people who had at some points tears in their eyes. They were so happy with the great turnout. Could we do this again sometime? And so the answer is, when we have a program that popular, sure, we'll do it again sometime. But what we have to figure out is how often makes sense for the library, how often makes sense for the readers, for the Up Center. So we'll work through those things. But I would say that if they would like to do it again, we would be happy to do it again.
Okay.
At the celebration that Chris was at, I bumped into so many foreign kids from school. A Turkish kid, a couple of Chinese kids. It was like amazing that they were all there to see what was going on. It was kind of cool.
The young Chinese boy doing the interpretive dance, I think, stole the show.
Oh, maybe that was
He
it.
on his jazz machine. Like a little 3-year-old, free spirit, right? With just incredible interpretive dance. That was a special moment for everyone watching. Great kid. That's fun.
Okay. It looks like our next point, item of business is for the closed session. And what we need to do tonight is look at minutes of closed session. Okay.
You have a board president report where you're appointing the liaison officers for this next fiscal year. So that's 16.
Oh, that's
It
right.
says 14, then it says 16.1. I apologize, we had a mess up on our numbering there. So under board president report,
After administrative
14.
reports, it's fine.
Yeah. But we did not pass those appointments?
so you don't need approval for those.
Okay.
These you can just appoint. So you
So as president of the board, you can say, I'm
Okay.
appointing.
Did I not say that?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself. Okay, I then have appointed Barbara Bennett as the Friends of the Library. Myself, I will take on the job of the foundation, and Jeff will take on the job of appointed the liaison for the Heartland again. Declared.
Do we have to appoint a liaison? I mean, like, I'm not really, I mean, I ran for this board, independent of,
That's another
the
point. I mean, that's not our,
that's separate
Concern.
from this.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
that's the organization that has asked you to run for the office. Yeah. We just put you there. Okay, as I started to say, what we need to do in terms of closed session is approve minutes, and the big item, as you see on the back, is this huge list. We've recently found out that we do not have to hang on to the recordings, tape recordings, and we have them all. So, do I have a motion that we go into closed session?
So moved.
Second, roll call.
Make down your motion, okay. Jeff?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
And John?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go next door, and Becky will have stuff for us to.
Okay. Quick question, are we doing 16.1 and 2 and 3, or just 2 and 3?
16.1? Oh,
Oh,
the 16.
we're not doing one.
We're not going to do one.
Okay, great, so let's just
Yeah.
show that that is not what's happening.
We're not ready. Barbara's not here.
Right.
We're back in open session. Roll call.
Here.
Beth?
Here.
Chris?
Yes.
Michael?
Here.
Jared?
Here.
John?
Here.
Do we have a motion to be placed on the floor?
I have 3 motions.
Okay, number 1.
First motion is I move that we approve the minutes from the closed sessions of the January 9th, 2018, February 13th, 2018, April 10th, 2018, and May 8th, 2018 sessions.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Next motion.
Next motion, I move that we open the minutes from the closed sessions of what we've just approved, January 9th, February 13th, April 10th, May 8th, 2018, and in addition, the session from September 8th, 2015.
Seconded.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Third,
My last motion is I move that we approve the destruction of the verbatim record per 5 ILCS 120/2.06 C12 for all of the sessions listed in the agenda except for March 11th, 2014 and April 8th, 2014.
Second.
all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Well, that pretty much takes care of the business for tonight. Do we have anything else?
I think that was it.
Seeing no other business become before the group tonight, I declare the meeting adjourned.